All right. All right, man. We are live. Oh, you're already drinking, dude. I should have ran over there and got me some Elijah Craig. What
I'm
do
an
you
early riser, man. I'm an early
apparently so
riser.
it's literally 5 o'clock somewhere, and then and that's here on the East Coast.
There you go.
So yeah. What are you drinking?
Shiner Bach.
Oh, Shiner. Okay, good. I'm just glad it wasn't like Castellas.
No, it's a Texas beer that got
Yeah,
popular and being
we
shipped
get
all
that
over
here.
now.
Yeah, we'll get that here. So I want to ask you first to kind of go back to what we talked about a few weeks ago. Now I want
Sure.
to also want to say thank you for deciding to come back on and do this
Yeah.
with me again.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
yeah, for sure. So the question I have for you is that um, growing up, wrestlers you saw growing up, who do you think was the most underrated wrestler that you grew up watching that you think now probably gets a little bit more love, but back then was like nobody really was talking about him. People would use the word jobber maybe even on that individual, but who's a person you really enjoyed growing up that maybe didn't get as much love as you thought they should?
Man, that's a fantastic question. There's quite a few of them, man, that I really did, but it was so weird because it was almost as if I wished for that person to do great, man. It's like they just blew up in the atmosphere. Like they just transcended everything, jumped and went to WWE. But you know, just going back to like world class or even watching like NWA back in the day, there was a lot of tag teams too, man, that I thought were just fantastic. There was a
Yeah.
lot of wrestlers that I thought were overrated that I
Yeah, I
just
was
could
gonna
not
ask you that
stand.
next. That was a
Yeah,
hey, what's up, Blister? The bibster of all things wax packed. What's up, brother? So yeah,
yeah, I
so
can.
we'll get that question will be next. Who do you think was who was overrated? But first, I want to ask you who you thought was underrated.
Underrated, man. I'm gonna say I'd say Steve and Sean Simpson.
Okay, now
Uh,
he's so underrated. I never even heard of him. So who's Steven Sean Simpson?
they were a couple of brothers that came from South Africa that started off in the Oregon Territory.
Okay.
There they were kind of wrestling with the likes of Billy Jack Haynes. That's also where Ricky
Okay.
Vaughn slash Lance Von Erich came from. Um, but those guys, man, were absolutely fantastic. They had the charisma, they had the move sets, and whenever they would tag together, man, it was just fire, dude. Absolute fire. Those guys, man, they couldn't do any wrong, and they were just so much fun to watch. And it, of course, they were brothers, so of course they're going to have this chemistry or whatever. But
Right.
they had the long curly hair, and just that slim build, just that built look, and it was just like I want to be like those guys. But
Right.
a couple other guys, man. Honestly, uh, I'm gonna say Rick Rude. He wrestled here for a few years, and he was the world. He came in as world champion, which we thought was kind of weird. It didn't make sense. His manager was Percy Pringle, but just he really was good, man. He just I don't know why he was, the belt wasn't put on him in other territories or whatever. The dude had the look. He was chiseled. He just oozed just awesomeness, just amazing.
Right.
Uh, I can think also of like ECW guys, Shane Douglas. I thought he was kind of
Yeah.
underrated. I don't think he was given a fair shot in the big leagues. Um, but Lance Von Erich, I think a lot of people just wanted to crap on him for not being a real Von Erich when, you know, he was kind of thrown into a situation that was beyond his, beyond his control. It was an
Right.
idea that was thought up by Fritz and David Manning here in World Class, and I think he made the best of the situation. And dude, I'm not kidding. You always wanted to go to the wrestling matches when Lance was wrestling because I swear to God, there were so many beautiful women, dude, just wanting to wanting to meet him. So that was one of the other perks about
Right.
being a fan of Lance Von Erich, dude. It was just like all right, well, I'm going to sit here in this row. Oh my gosh. I'd be tapping my brother, dude, look at that. Oh my God. You see, oh my gosh, you see that or not? Oh my, it was, it was so much fun, dude. So
Right.
much
Yeah.
fun.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
I have two names that come to my mind. Both of them. I know one wrestled both in WCW and WWF back then. I think maybe the other one only stayed. He only was in WCW. I don't think. One is I think
Okay.
is Perry Saturn,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and I think Saturn was like he. I always felt like he was a great worker, but he never
Yeah.
really got a lot of. He didn't. In WCW, he had a little bit bigger push, but when he got over to WWF,
Yeah.
he just was like, I don't even know what they were doing with him. And I
Yeah.
thought he was a good wrestler. I enjoyed him a lot. I thought he had some really cool moves that he would do. And then he had like a
Yep.
Rings of Saturn or something he would put people
Yes.
in or something.
You sure did.
And and I really liked that. I thought he was a really good wrestler that was overlooked a lot.
Yeah.
And then the other guy is Conan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
He was
I
such a
mean,
huge star in Mexico too, man.
but
That
that's
I'm
he was huge. If you're talking about Conan in Mexico, then yeah, he's a goat. Whatever you might want
yeah.
to say. But over
Yeah.
here, he was in the Wolf Pack, and then he kind of got disappeared with all the Latin wrestlers,
Right.
and and it just and he was. I just enjoyed him I thought his mind, like
Yeah.
his mic skills, also were great. Where Saturday didn't really have good mic skills, but he was really good in the ring,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I thought Conan was really good in the ring, and he was good on the mic. But I felt like he was more like that pit bull they would put in, because he just had that like bruiser
Yeah.
fighting kind of look.
Yep.
And I just always remember him walking in his introduction and be like, "Andale, andale, arriba la raza," and
Yep.
just going off.
And you
And I just
believe it
love
too.
that. What was
That's the one other thing too that I really liked about him is that he made you believe. Like he could look in that camera and whatever
yes,
he could do with his face, man, he just he made you believe. And I think the same thing too with Perry Saturn. He was one of my favorites too, with that whole Ravens flock and Billy
yes,
Kidman. And man, I thought that was just absolutely phenomenal. That was a lot of fun to watch, man. He had the look too. He was different. He had all those weird piercings, you
yeah, the
know?
piercings. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But there was something about him that was just like he didn't need to speak that much because he let all that talking go on in the ring, man. And he could really show people what he could do when he got that chance.
right. And I mean, and to me, like you said, like Conan was always one of those guys where it's kind of like when you listen to like MJF talk now, like
Yeah.
you believe what he's saying. Like he never breaks character. He's just always like super intense.
Right.
John Moxley's kind of like that a lot with promos
Yes.
and things.
Yep.
Like when and like even Eddie Kingston, you think like he doesn't realize that wrestling's a work. Like you think
Right.
this is his real life.
Right.
And Conan was one of those first guys that was introduced to us, at least to me, that when he got on a microphone, I'm thinking like he really might be a gang member, and it's like South
Yeah.
Central, like he
Yeah.
might just be showing up here just to pick up a paycheck, but then he goes home and slaps people around with a pistol and pistol whips everybody.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yep.
So yeah, I agree with that. So to kind of like move that forward, um, right now you've been like we talked about before. We're gonna spend a lot of time today kind of talking about more modern stuff,
Sure.
and we might go back and forth, and this is a conversation we're gonna continue to have. But with that being said, who is a wrestler in any promotion do you think that might be overrated and then underrated? That you've been watching in the last year. Let's just go in the last year, because or else
Sure.
we can go down a rabbit hole that over the last couple years or decade or whatever. So over the last year, let's say 2020, who's a wrestler you thought has been overrated and underrated? I don't care about the promotion. What's your thoughts?
Man, I hate to say this too, man, because I am such a fan of this guy, but I think overrated right now. I hate to say it, man. Chris Jericho.
I agree. That was gonna be my pick. Yeah.
The COVID god is just he's got his finger in everybody's pie, man, and it's just like I don't know if to me it just feels like he's trying to stay relevant, and everything. That's why he's starting the inner circle, and this and that. And when it's like, dude, they give them the microphone, they can do it themselves, like MJF, like you said. Dude
Yeah.
can work a microphone. And I
The
think the
dude's
most
24 years
underrated,
old too.
huh?
He's 24 years old. You
Oh, yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So
an underrated guy, speaking of which, that's in that same circle, so to speak, Sammy Guevara. I think he's underrated.
yeah.
I have seen that dude. I'm not even kidding. There was an independent show that happened in Austin, Texas, and it was for this promotion called Wrestling Circus. That's a fantastic name, by the way. They're no
Yeah, it
longer
is.
around, but about 3 or 4 years ago, uh, there was a lot of talk. I think Ricochet was about to go to the NXT. There was like a bidding war, from what I'm hearing, between like Ricochet and Sammy Guevara going to NXT and this and that. I swear, man, I've never seen this. There, where they were wrestling was like I don't even think it was a ballroom. It must have been like a cow stall or something, like where they had animals or something once, like livestock. And Sammy Guevara, man, like climbs the side of the wall, gets up on this raptor type thing to the dude that's below, and he backflips on the dude. Like the whole time, though, I've never been on the edge of my seat like I was. Like you, I was scared for him, man. Like I've never seen anything that kind of nuts. And he pulled it off, no problem. And I've seen him live a couple of times. He's not afraid to fly. You know what I mean? Like he's not afraid to put himself out there and look like he's having a good time doing it. But he's so exciting to watch because he'll just be running, and then he'll do like a inwards backflip or something, and try to pin somebody, and it's like, dude is nuts. He's absolutely
Yeah.
crazy, and I like that without having to get all the hammers and barbed wire and all that stuff. He's not that kind of crazy, but he's crazy. He'll fly on you.
Well, yeah, you're right. He's not really that kind of crazy, but man, he kind of got him and Matt Hardy. They had about 2 or 3 matches where everybody was getting the hell beat out of them. They're bleeding out
Yeah.
all over the place. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree with you about definitely Chris Jericho. I feel like he's definitely overrated.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about Chris Jericho a decade ago, not at all. But
I
now,
know, right?
and then with overrated or I'm just underrated, I agree with you on Sammy Guevara. But also, I think that like if I'm talking about somebody I noticed at WWE that I enjoy, and I don't think he's had some pretty big runs, but he's just an excellent worker. Is Sheamus. I just
Yeah.
like I feel like he's one of those guys that just kind of like falls in the cracks. Like
Yeah.
he's good to put in whenever you need a good storyline and you need a good bad guy to be in there or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's never really got the push I think he deserves. And also like Sami Zayn's another one.
Yeah.
I like, and he doesn't get used as much. I mean, he just came out of the Intercontinental Championship that he had for a while. But I mean, the guy, everything that the guys just go to. He plays such a like smarmy heel, like crybaby. I mean, it's like
he's good.
I just like that. And then with AEW, as far as underrated, I really think Butcher and the Blade are underrated for
Really?
sure. I really like them. And and then I feel like aside from another overrated person, and I know like kind of like you say about Chris Jericho, and I kind of feel like this, but it's like I'm not a big fan of the Young Bucks. I'm not really a huge fan.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd never heard of them before until they did AEW. I never even knew who the Young Bucks were. And apparently they were a big deal all over the world. I mean, like, they're talking about Mexico and Japan and TNA. They were on there for a while and blah, blah, blah. And all that. And I'm sure all that's true and everything. But I just was kind of like, when I see them doing what they're doing, it's like, I mean, they still could do all the high flying stuff. But I mean, I could think off the top of my head, you have H2, the Hybrid 2, over there that's doing the same thing that the new you have Private Party's doing it now.
Right.
They can do that stuff. You have Jack from Jurassic Express. He's doing all this kind of high flying stuff.
Right.
And then there's like the new group from Minnesota. There's young black guys, 2 young black boys from Minnesota. I can't remember their names.
Brothers?
Yeah, the brothers.
Yeah, I know your Modern Warfare, is it?
I can't remember, but something like that. But they're still young. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's like, so I mean, it's kind of like getting to a point now where I mean, even Ray Phoenix, Lucha Bros,
right?
So I mean, I kind of feel like maybe they might have had the market singled out there for a while or something. Yeah. But just, I mean, I'm not even, and I'm sure I may be even missing some people, but I mean, all the high flying stuff. I mean, all those guys I just mentioned do all that same stuff. So I'm kind of like, what makes them so special, So,
right.
And like kind of like what Hitman said, and I agree with. I actually like FTR. I feel like they're more like your traditional, pound and ground,
right.
tag team. Right. What's your thoughts about some of that? I mean, am I wrong? Am I right? You can disagree with me, but
I think you're hitting the nail on the head on a lot of that stuff, man. Because it as enjoyable as the lucha style is, and the high and flying and stuff, that you just kind of become numb to it after a while. It's like, okay, it's not as exciting as I thought it would be. But like with FTR, man, like you said, ground and pound. Those guys know how to work a crowd. I remember watching them in NXT have matches with Ciampa and Gargano. That was probably one of the best matches, like tag matches, I've ever seen in my entire life. And they kept you on the edge of your seat watching it. As far as the Young Bucks, I
Top
totally
Flight.
get that.
That's the name of the group, the young black kids. Top
Flight. That's right.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking about it. So please continue.
I hear you. Yeah, man, I saw those guys last week, and I thought they were phenomenal. And like I was going back earlier talking about Steve and Sean Simpson, having that chemistry as far as just being brothers or whatever, man. These guys are onto something. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do over the next couple of years. I'm trying to think who else too, man. You were talking about Sheamus as far as being underrated, and he's very interchangeable in any type of role or whatever that you put him through. One guy I was just thinking too, as you were saying it, Cesaro. That dude was, that dude should be world champion 5 times over by now. And
I feel like, go ahead.
And like we were talking earlier, it's like as soon as you feel like that momentum build up for them, like you feel like they're going to go somewhere, like they're going to do something and really change things, and then the storyline's gone, or it's just like, oh, we're just not going to do that anymore. Right. It's like, why not? That dude has it all.
I think, and like with Cesaro's a good example, and then like when Shinsuke Nakamura came over originally, I mean he was like fire. I mean he was just on a tear, and then they got their hands on him, and they got him all playing second or third fiddle and everything. And then recently he's kind of making a push again with the whole Jey Uso and the whole thing with that because of a couple of things that went down during SmackDown a few weeks ago. And you're starting to feel like, okay, here we go. Nakamura, he's going to maybe make another push. But because he's in the hands of the WWE and they have like not a good track record almost ever, but especially modern times.
Right.
I'm really scared because like Cesaro and Nakamura would be like gangbusters at AEW, I think, because they would be Ron said strong style, Japanese strong style, right? And I think they would do a lot better over there, but AEW can't take every cast off from WWE, or else they're just going to become WWE light,
Exactly.
So they have to find that happy balance because. I think they're big about is giving young people a chance to shine, or new wrestlers a chance to shine. Where WWE they make them go through years and years and years of preparation, and then like you said, they come up and then they have like ridiculous storylines and they don't make sense or whatever. AEW lets them kind of like develop in the ring, which is great.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys that show up on AEW Dark, I mean, you're talking about less than a few months, they're on Dynamite.
Yes.
You know, they're like showing up. I mean, for crying out loud, yesterday, a Chaos Project, who I absolutely love, is Dr. Luther and Serpentico. Like they're in there wrestling the Dark Order in the very first match of the night. I mean, it's just like they like never leave the basement of the dark, and all of a sudden they're starting to show up, and there's a big angle with them, and I'm like, this is great, but you would never see stuff like that over on WWE. You know, they're never going to just like, you know, let their young talent or their like more unknown people work their way up for angles. You know, they're like, no, they're not gonna do it, which I just think sucks, you know?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, so you said what's your thoughts? I'm assuming you've kept up with this because you alluded to it before we got on camera here or go live. What are your thoughts about the inner promotional working at work with AEW and Impact? How do you perceive it? Do you think it's good? Do you worry about it all? There's any pros, the cons? What's your thoughts?
I'm not worried about it, man, because I honestly feel that it's a good thing for wrestling. I'm looking at, you know, down the road, and you know, there might be a branching off. I love AEW Dark. I absolutely love it. Same type of thing. I could see some of these Impact guys coming in. You hear stories about, you know, about how awesome they are, the Good Brothers and stuff, and seeing them reunite with Kenny Omega and stuff like that. That's what makes wrestling exciting. I don't care. I mean, that's what wrestling is to make you forget about the regular world and just delve into this world of good versus evil and just enjoy it. So, yeah, we got to hear this, man. I got to hear this impersonation.
I can't do all that. No, I don't want to do all that. I don't want to embarrass myself and all the millions of people watching worldwide. So let me tell you my thoughts too, because I agree. If you're a fan of Marvel, and you know there's all these different kinds of characters that start cross promoting each other's movies.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of that, you get so excited to see Spider-Man show up in Captain America movie, right?
Yeah.
You have Iron Man show up in Spider-Man. You have Thor show up in the Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever. That is the same thing I'm feeling right now when you have TNA wrestlers mixing in with AEW wrestlers. You know, like you're like watching some of your favorite wrestlers or whatever mixing in matches and like get-togethers that you never would imagine. You know, and it's just like unbelievable. You know, and then like yesterday, you know, I don't know if you've seen this. You said you saw some highlights. Or like yesterday on AEW Dynamite, you had the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega just whooping up on Pentagon. Like they're just like a snippet out of the blue. And we're like, why did Pentagon get whipped up on? You know, like it's just like it doesn't make any sense. So they're beating up on Pentagon, but the night before, Matt Hardy and the Private Parties on TNA, and they're fighting one of their tag teams over there. They beat them in their own ring at TNA, and they do a screw job on them. So like Tony Khan, he's sitting in the audience right by the match, and he goes and tells I forgot who it is, Jerry Lynn, and Jerry Lynn goes over there and like messes with one of the other guys' legs on the ropes or whatever, and he like knocks him down, and they pin him. You know, Matt Hardy's over there messing with the ref and all that, like this, like the fix is in. And you're like completely blown away. Like you're like Matt Hardy, who used to be with TNA, shows up and he's like, and then he like cuts a promo where he's burning him to the ground.
Right.
And like it's just like crazy. Like he like says like all kinds of crazy stuff that in most cases would be like a shoot. And you know, and like for people who don't know what a shoot is, it's like when wrestlers go off script and like talk about real things. Like they're like no longer in their like character. They're like talking about as a person. Like their name is John Smith. John Smith's talking about something that happened to them or a real situation, and they're not doing a promo like that, which is like fake. They're doing a shoot interview, and so like you know they're like shooting Matt Hardy in character as Money Matt, like cuts a promo which is almost like a shoot on TNA, and you're like, what just happened here? So like the possibilities are becoming like endless, like all this cross promotion.
Yep.
And you know, that's not including Thunder Rosa, who's technically with NWA.
Yes.
And who's essentially an AEW wrestler, and Serena Deeb, who's a wrestler in AEW, I think she's an AEW wrestler under contract, has NWA title, and she's wrestling for NWA. Like, it's like unbelievable. Like, my mind sometimes is starting to like melt with the possibilities.
I'm going to make your mind melt a little bit more. Brian Pillman Jr. I don't know if he's still contracted with them, but he came from MLW.
Oh, MLW. So, okay.
Yeah. So I would like to see a little bit of that kind of get thrown in the mix too.
Yeah.
Because I know MLW is working with AAA, those Lucha guys, and they're bringing some of those guys over. But, man, it reminds me so much of whenever I was a kid. Whenever we would go to the matches at World Class at Will Rogers in Fort Worth, and you get the card. We'd buy a program, see who all was going to be on the card, and me and my brother just be like, "This dude was just in WWF. This dude was just in NWA." I have a card out in my garage. The only program that I have, and the one name that I can give an example on that was Ted Arcidi. He was the world's strongest man in WWF, and then he quit that promotion and came to World Class. And my brother had the LJN figure, the big rubber figure of him, big stout dude, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm seeing this WWF guy, here. And another example, we went to one of the matches at a World Class, and Carlos Colon wrestled. And I remember reading the magazines, and I knew he was a legend in Puerto Rico. I knew who Carlos Colon was. He even had a AWA Remco figure that my brother had, along with Abdullah the Butcher or whatever. And it was just awesome, man. Just absolutely awesome. Getting to see stuff like that, guys from other promotions. So, yeah, man, I'm feeling the excitement on it. People can down Tony Khan all they want, but I think he's making some really good decisions. And if this does come to fruition, I mean, the playing field is wide open, and I think that they got enough resources and enough people to do it smart this time and not have it blow up like they did in the 80s when they had the super clashes. Vern Gagne was doing stuff with AWA versus World Class versus Memphis, and all those promoters got too greedy, was trying to get talent that, within each other and stuff like that. And I think everybody has learned a lesson and saw that as an example, and they're going to be like, let's try it from this angle. Let's see what's going to happen.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
I agree. I completely agree. Special appearance.
Yes.
What's up?
You say hi to Jason.
Hi.
Say what's up,
hey,
Jason.
buddy.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, dude?
He thinks he is Anakin Skywalker. I think we got a little bit
you
of
look just like him, so I can see why.
Yeah. Now go get your backpack and your lightsaber.
And make sure you...
No, you have no pants on. Sorry.
Hey, that's fatherhood right there for you, dude.
Yeah. Well, he's a little upset with me because I still retained the belt earlier today.
Oh, there you go. That's right. I thought he was going to come in there and cut a promo on you right there.
Man, he's doing good with his promos. We actually have a secondary YouTube channel called Wrestling Promo Dad, where we cut promos on wrestlers, including like the Steiner brothers. And he just has like just one line, dude, and it just absolutely cracks me up. So I try to bring wrestling into his world, and he tries to, let me in on his. So it's pretty fun.
Right. No, that's awesome, dude. That's what it's all about. Yeah. It's so cool. Very, very cool. But
thanks, man.
So I mean, let me ask you this. So since you said obviously you like the cross promotion, I do too. Yeah. And I don't really see a downside of it right now because I feel like they're doing it smartly. I feel like they're doing it. I think they're doing it. Like you said, they're learning from the past. And I think like this is the kind of thing that will be able to possibly topple WWE if they do it smart, because it won't happen tomorrow, it won't happen next year, but if they keep it up this way, and WWE decides not to play ball with everybody, this is how you're going to see the empire crumble, and
Right.
and because what'll happen is, and hopefully I can see Tony Khan not doing this, is that WWE will be like try to do like the Eric Gagne thing, right? And
Yeah.
then but they're gonna want to take over, and then they're gonna like usurp all the talent, and they're gonna be make sure that WWE always comes out on top,
Right.
and that's the only way because I saw an interview where
You
Triple
mean
H
Triple
said
H comes out on top every match? He
right,
comes in, buries everybody.
right. Triple H was like, oh yeah, because he even said they asked him the question, would you be open to doing what Tony AEW is doing with Impact and WA? And then Triple H was like, oh yeah, we would, but it had to make sense for us. And you can read right between the lines what that means. So what makes sense for them is they come out on top. They're the ones that's getting the payday. They're the ones that get the talent, and they're the ones that's going to get the views. It's going to be on their terms.
Right.
So
I think you said it right there, though, too. I think you just brought up a great point. Whatever makes sense to us. So my thinking might be Raw, SmackDown, NXT. That's their intercross promotions. They're cross promotions, I'm sure. That's how they're looking. Because they only see themselves as being the wrestling company. And I don't think they're really trying to pay much attention to the AEW and Impact and all this other stuff.
You're right.
I think that they are just too stuck in their own world. They may hear little rumblings or whatever, and that's fine. But I think their cross promotion idea would be Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, and it's just
subjective.
Yeah,
I mean, I think so. So let me ask you. So I don't know how much you're following with the AEW storylines right now. Are you somewhat caught up on their storylines, or are you kind of behind?
A little bit behind.
Okay. So yesterday, we talked about this off before we went live, which I think is something that we're alluding to right now, is the AEW and apparently TNA also, but especially AEW, they're setting up storylines that are sometimes not paying off for 6 months, a year. I mean, we're talking about storylines that are taking a long, long time.
Right.
And for us as fans, we're enjoying the ride. Now, sometimes you get that can backfire on you if you don't give us enough meat on the bone.
Right.
It could backfire on you because then at some point you're starting to be like, okay, we're invested. We need some sort of a payoff. We don't need the whole payoff, but we need to see some progression of the story. But I'd rather that sometimes opposed if you go to WWE where there's like no storylines.
Right.
Like it's like they literally wrote it like an hour before the show went live, and they're just like it's just like this verbal like soup splattered all over the screen, and it's like random.
They change it 5 minutes before they go out.
Right, yeah, and you can tell that people don't even know what they're really even talking about. They don't even know, and I mean they have some really great performers over there, like real great. Without a doubt. I mean, I would say most of them are really good performers, quite honestly. I mean, that's the one thing. WWE wrestlers are polished. Like, they know. I mean, they're good. They can do promos. But for the most part, they can wrestle, definitely. But they're not given a lot to work with. Whereas AEW, they have almost all the rope they need to hang themselves, which can be dangerous. But, but at the same time, they let their storylines progress, and they, for the most part, have a good payoff. Now, I don't know how you feel about the Sting storyline, but he was introduced back in the beginning of December or middle of December for the whole Winter is Coming. We're almost in February, and like all we do is he cuts these like little promos in the ring for about 5 minutes, and he's acting kind of mysterious, and he shows up to quote unquote help out Darby Allin or whatever, or help out Cody, and then he just shimmies off to the distance. Like, for me, I'm going to need a little bit more than that if you want me to get that much invested in Sting. And I love Sting. But I'm going to need a little bit more story going than that, because so far he doesn't show up and then he disappears. And that's great for a week or two, but we need to know what's going on. Like, what's happening right now.
Well, I think maybe they're playing the mystery on you.
What's your thoughts about stuff like that?
I think they might be playing the mystery on you just a little bit, because You remember back in, when was it, 97, 98 in WCW? It took over a year for them to build up that whole thing where he didn't talk. He would just stand there, all crow-like, and then he would be in the rafters and this and that. I think maybe they're trying to approach it, like, all right, we got him signed for a year. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So I think they're milking it for all that it's worth because they got the T-shirts printed. They're going to make wrestling figures, I guarantee you. I also see a 2-pack coming. Sting, Darby Allin.
For sure.
I also think that they're looking at it from a market standpoint too. What's going to appeal to the fans? What's going to appeal to the kids? What's going to appeal to the collectors? So I think they're milking it and not necessarily letting the storyline be followed right at the beginning for most folks, because I think my thinking is they're probably going to have them basically play the field and pick sides, choose sides. Who knows? There might be a what's up, Card Cutter? I think that they're going to have something very special planned, because Sting is a very special player in the game of wrestling. So I don't think that they're just going to make it just a week or two thing where it's just like, okay, we know what the story is here, we're going to follow it. I think that they're just kind of planting the seeds right now. They're going to let that mystery build up in your mind, and then whenever it's revealed, then who knows, man? It may be 6 months from now, because I think they've got him for at least a year. You would think so.
Yeah, I think he probably. They said he signed a long-term deal, so
Okay.
I would assume that's probably at least 3 years. I would assume most long-term deals reach about 3 years. And I mean, obviously, I have no idea, but I feel like if it was just a year, then they would probably move it a little bit faster. But like to your point, since they have him on a long-term deal, and I think they're going to use him obviously a lot more for the younger talent as a trainer, as a manager, helping with promos,
so too.
probably working with them in the ring, stuff like that too. And I did want to just real quick, not to get too far off topic, but W. Boggs, he talked about, I don't know if you saw, while he was working with Charlotte Knight's AAA team, they had a promotion with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and he had a chance to meet him.
Very nice.
Which is awesome, because when I was a kid, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was my man, dude. I loved Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I just thought his character was so awesome. And the matches that he had with Ric Flair, oh my gosh, dude.
Those are some of the best, man.
And then Randy Macho Man Savage. I mean, this amazing stuff.
That's probably one of the best matches of all time.
What it was?
Yeah, 1987, the Pontiac Silverdome.
Yeah,
Macho Man and Steamboat, man. I think that they, from what I understand, they choreographed every move for like months. Went over it with each other and talked about it and stuff. And I really like him too, because I sent him a TTM a while back. And I sent him a nice letter, and he actually wrote me a little note back, and I got it over there with my 45s. And awesome. It was like, basically, Gary, thanks for being a fan, and man, just warms the heart, man. Just whenever you get something back from somebody like Ricky Steamboat. But I agree, man. Sure. Ricky Steamboat. Tatanka.
Tatanka, yeah, that's another one right there for you, man. I love it. Yeah. He showed up on Legends Night, and he didn't have nothing to do. He had nothing to do, man. I hated that. He had like 50 legends there, and then, like 5 of them had something to do in front of the camera. The rest of them just were like playing like, background fiddles and stuff. And it was just kind of like, what? But so to kind of get back to what your thoughts. So with storylines, I agree with you that a slow burn is like a way to go. And I do agree with you that, I like story. I started off saying I like having a good story. But I also think that you got to find that fine balance of having to start a story, but also have some progression of the story, and enough little high marks throughout the conversation of the story to keep people invested. Like another storyline I feel like they've done, and it's not really got much going on, is like the Jay Cargill thing with Shaq and Cody.
Yeah,
like he shows up again last night. She just shows up and just kind of glances at him and glares at him, and then she disappears. And I'm like, okay. You know, and it's like they don't AEW, which I appreciate, isn't a promotion where men and women are going to wrestle anyways. They're going to fight. It's not going to happen, which I like. So I don't think that to me. And I know we're talking about a fake wrestling now. Don't get me wrong, but there's no way that you're going to try to convince me that like Sheeta is going to be able to whip up on Cody or whatever. Like it's just not going to be real. Like it's just not a realistic situation. And quite frankly, I don't like seeing women get thrown around and slapped around by other. Like man, that's just not a thing I like.
Yeah,
so
me neither.
Because if that was anything except a ring, that's a problem. But you can't tell me like little kids watching that, like especially boys watching men smacking around women.
Right.
What does that say? I mean, that to me is just kind of somewhat problematic. But anyways, so it's like, okay, so now she just comes out and glares at him a lot, and that's like her new thing. And I'm like, all right, well, she does it every week.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I suppose there's going to be some sort of a payoff next week.
It's going to build towards something, man. It's going to build towards something. You know it is.
Well, I know, but I'm thinking
payoff.
Maybe crazy if Shaq ends up like wrestling. If Shaq wrestles, that'd be crazy. So
it'd be fun.
Okay, so let me ask you this to kind of pivot away from this topic a bit.
Sure.
What would be in 2021, whatever the promotion is, I don't care, who would you like to see a wrestler move to another promotion? You could pick any promotion, but who do you think would be a better fit at a different promotion?
Man, I think Jacob Fatu and MLW. I think eventually he's going to make a jump to WWE.
Okay.
Is he
part of that? Is he part of that family of?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, man, that dude is a beast. Like he is a big dude. He ain't afraid to do anything. Like from the top ropes, from ring to outside. I'm telling you, man. If you like wrestling, you've got to see Jacob Fatu, man. He's probably another one of those underrated guys. He's at the top of the game. Contra Unit is big in MLW. I absolutely love MLW, man. There's not a whole lot of people in the roster. They're bringing more and more people in. But the storylines, man, are very interesting. There's another little group in there called Injustice. And they got this young kid in there named Jordan Oliver. And this dude, man, he is going to be a star. I could see him jumping eventually to WWE too. He's just a little rough around the edges right now. He's a little green, but dude has no fear. So
That's right.
I think those may be a couple of guys that'll probably make a jump within the next couple of years or so, if not sooner.
Yeah, I saw that Matt Cardona showed up at Impact, and he has a contract with them for a short-term deal. So I'm interested to see what that is, because he was also in AEW for like a couple matches, and he disappeared. But the one wrestler I like, and he's over in Japan right now with the Japanese, New Japan, is Jeff Cobb. I like him a lot, and I think him. And I think he's one of those wrestlers, and he showed up at AEW for this match or two. Right when the pandemic hit, so he probably couldn't get back to Japan. So he was just looking for something to do.
Right.
But I think he's a wrestler I would love to see come back over here and wrestle in AEW, because he's one of those guys that, again, he has a lot of skills. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He can also be moving really quick. Like, he has deceptive, quickness, and it even has a little bit of flight skills, like from the ropes and stuff. Nothing crazy. But, and I like that. I mean, I think that's something that you don't see too often. Bigger guys that are more like, quote unquote, Husky Harris. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But be able to, move around the ring. And I like Jeff Cobb. I think he has a good look. He kind of reminds me of, Rhino. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Rhino. And I like that, so.
Yep.
Oh, here's a good question from Card Cutter Garrett. Let me get it pulled up here. So, thoughts on Roman Reigns' storyline? I'm kind of over it. I hate that they made Jey Uso look weak to lift up Roman. I'll let you answer that first, and then.
Does he really want to know the truth? I think for years. The truth will set you
free, man.
All right. Well, let me. Here's a little cheers to you, Garrett Shinerbach, a little Texas brew. before I tell you my thinking on this.
Uh-oh.
I think for
Heavy
years
twin.
Roman Reigns has been Vince McMahon's little boy toy project. I think they've tried to make him a face and shove it down everybody's throat. People rejected him. Then whenever he got sick, I think he gained a lot of sympathy, and I think it brought some people to be more fan friendly towards him. And I think that for years people had been trying to tell Vince, you need to turn this guy heel. He's going to be a better bad guy. He's got family in this, everything involved. I think being with Paul Heyman helps him out quite a bit. I think that Paul Heyman, man, he's money no matter who you put him up with. I mean, you've seen the success that he's had in ECW with Brock Lesnar. So you pair these two people up together. That's great. That's fine. But I've always thought that Roman lacked a lot of the mic skills. I don't think that he has that charisma that the fans are just drawn to as far as being wrestling fans. And believe me, man, I have given him chances. I've watched him. I've wanted to fall in love with that idea of Roman Reigns, man, but it just does not work for me. It just does not work for me. And I'm sure that the dude is cool as the other side of the pillow, man, but I can't get on the Roman Reigns train. Can't do it.
All right. Well, first I want to say, hey, what's up, Mike? Mike Hunt. Thanks for watching with your dad, Harry, man. I appreciate you here. Is that one of your buddies?
What's his name again?
Mike Hunt. Your dad is watching there, hanging out with you. But anyways, so
cheers, Mike.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. But I agree. I guess I kind of take it from a different approach because, you know, I had not really watched WWE a lot over the years. I just started watching SmackDown when they came last year or a year ago now to Fox. Yeah, I'm a cord cutter, so I don't watch. So when they were on USA or whatever they were on, I don't know what they were on. But anyways, you know, I had no idea what was going on, so I never even kept up with any wrestling. I still don't know what really was happening over on Raw, which I heard is a hot mess anyway, so it doesn't matter. But so I didn't really know the Roman Reigns that everybody else is known as, the baby face they kept pushing and all this stuff. So you know, and then when he first shows up at SmackDown last year, when they go to Fox, I wasn't really impressed. Like kind of like what you were saying, I'm just kind of like, okay. I mean, he has a good look, I guess.
There's something missing. There's something missing.
Right. And I think him being a heel actually is better because he has less mic skills, and so he doesn't have to talk as much. He just has to like grimace and growl and show like he's having like bowel movements on his face or whatever, like he's uncomfortable. And you know, he's letting Paul Heyman do all the talking for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think that's what helps a lot. So his character is a lot more believable because he's less likely to, you know, take you out of the experience of him being that way, right?
Right.
I agree, Garrett. But I kind of the thing I don't like is, and I kind of go back to what Garrett was saying a few moments ago, kind of making his Jey Uso kind of like a punk who has like is like turning into like this like conscious crisis. Well, at first he's having this crisis of his conscience, you know, like should he do this? Should he not do it? Now he's like a full on mad dog going around like trying to destroy everybody. Now before Roman Reigns got into this a fight or storyline, I should say, with KO, I wasn't really feeling it.
Yeah.
But KO is so good, in my opinion, that fight, those fights they've been in have been really, really good. Like the steel cage match they did a couple weeks ago I thought was really good. You know, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that every time KO comes out, he doesn't have his friend or his friends, and so it's always like KO versus Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. So stuff like that. So I'm starting to get a little bit old and stale because it's like every time KO gets destroyed or gets annihilated,
Mm-hmm.
But then they also introduced Daniel Bryan into the mix a little bit recently. They've also put Shinsuke Nakamura back in there because him and Jey Uso got some problems with each other now. So I see some things starting to be mixed around that you can kind of see the storyline maybe going some different places.
Right.
But I've never been a big fan of the Vince McMahon pushing anybody on people. Like he's always been that way. Sometimes it works. But a lot of times it doesn't work. And I mean, I was thinking about this recently. You could tell me, like the attitude and the attitude era guys don't include them into this. But in the last 15 years, even let's say 20 years, is there any real superstar that's coming out of WWE that you can go back on and just go, those guys are going to be legends?
Man.
Like, is there a one individual that's like a Hogan or a Ric Flair or even like a Shawn Michaels, Undertaker? Is there a level of that guy that's there or has been there in the last, let's say, 20 years?
Yep. And
I can't think of a guy that I would say that's on that level because that's what Vince McMahon likes to do. He likes to take a few guys and push them to the stratosphere. So, yeah, I think John Cena would be the closest to that, yes. Because he was after the Attitude Era. But I would say Cena's the closest. I would agree with that. What about you? I mean, even then Cena would be like literally that, like, if I had to pick somebody, he'd be the guy, I guess.
I wished I could have seen Rob Van Dam get a little bit more spotlight. He just, unfortunately, don't do drugs, kids. That kind of ruined it for him. Unfortunately. Right. But and he had the title. He had the title, and all right, championship. I'm sorry, championship. He, even in his ECW days, man, he was something special. So yeah, man, I'd say RVD. And Garrett, man, he's saying I've been wanting to watch Japanese wrestling and lucha libre wrestling. Y'all know where we stateside can watch that stuff? Yes, New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have a website. They don't. Of course, you're gonna have to wake up at like 3:00 in the morning to watch like Wrestle Kingdom. But there's New Japan, man. That's where the action is. AAA Lucha Libre. That's probably another one because there's also some cross promotions here in the States with them. That's where you're going to see a lot of the high production values in a Lucha Libre show too. Is AAA. So I would say that Garrett, definitely.
Is that the one that Vampiro's helping run now down there?
I believe so. Yeah.
And I mean,
I know Conan has too in the past.
Yeah, Conan, right? Yeah, him and Conan. I think they have like fake heat and real heat in real life. I think they have.
It's almost like if they were a band, they would be the Police because they are so good whenever they put their minds together and come up with ideas, man. Because I don't know if you saw any of the Lucha Underground.
Oh yeah, I love Lucha Underground on El Rey.
Yeah, man, that was fun, dude. That was fun.
I love the cinematic aspect of it, dude. That was Robert Rodriguez all through that, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Having his fingers as a producer on those things, it was awesome. It made them feel like superheroes.
Yeah,
because they made them have like almost magical, mysterious, properties as these characters. Like Ricochet was, Puma, right? Yeah. Prince Puma. So they have a whole bunch of characters. Yeah, I mean, it was like they had great. I mean, that's why I first was introduced to Luchasaurus.
Yeah,
and a handful, of, and like Evo Leaks was there, and there's all kinds of people I like. So, I liked all those guys there, and I liked the cinematic aspect of it, where you like really invested in them. And Conan was like training Prince Puma and working with them, and Vampiro was starting to lose his mind and becoming, the Pentagon's like site, like his manager, and he like hitting his head against the glass, and there's all this stuff going on, and this is crazy.
Yep.
But like for me personally, I really, really do enjoy the aspect of what, I want to say I do enjoy that. At least SmackDown looks like they're trying to like carry storylines,
Yeah.
like at least attempting to have a beginning, middle, and end. Now they get there a lot faster than they should, probably a lot of times. But like at least they're not throwing fireballs at each other like on Raw and burning people to a crisp. Like as like I guess their story, like everybody's dying over on Raw apparently. Like every week somebody gets a fireball to the face or catches on fire or something. It's just like getting kind of ridiculous. But you know, the one thing is also it's funny because WWE has crazy storylines that don't really make sense and have no real beginning, middle, and end. AEW has like realistic based storylines that have a whole lot of build up and almost always a great payoff. And then Impact, who I watch, they have like ludicrous storylines about like people getting murdered and they're coming back to life, and then like there's like a demonic, aspect of things. Like people are like possessed and they're demons and they've got like ghosts and stuff, and they're like zombies and they're like really playing the characters as these creatures and stuff. So you get a little bit of mix of everything. It's like it depends on how much of the theater do you like, and so which I really like. And then and like I know we talked a little bit about this last time we spoke, but I don't know. Maybe you know the answer to this. I'm kind of not confused. Well, confused is the right word. Why Billy Corgan let Thunder Rosa leave and wrestle, but why is he not letting any of the other guys go? Like, why is he not letting Nick Aldis go and some of these other guys? I know Nikki Dice finally left. We don't know where he's gonna go, but Nick Aldis. We talked about this before. He'd be awesome anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I mean, why? I don't know why you're only taking this one girl out, which is great. We're all happy about it. Because until she showed up in AEW, I didn't know who she was, and now I'm like a huge Thunder Rosa fan. So I mean, do you have any insights or your thoughts about why they were picking one out of their like let's say 30 people roster?
Yeah, I think Nick Aldis is the golden goose over there. I don't know if you right from the beginning, there was the 10 pounds of gold, which came off of Tim Storm. The story evolved from Tim Storm to Nick Aldis, just shortly with Cody Rhodes, and then the Jacob to Cody Rhodes back to Nick Aldis. So it's an ongoing story. I also think too. I don't know if I'm going to say this correct or not, but from what I understand, Lucha Underground, Thunder Rosa wasn't happy with what was going down in there. There was a lot of hurt feelings. Yeah. And from what I understand, she left not amicably. And I think that maybe in a weird way, Billy Corgan is wanting to embrace her individuality and let her do these things because she also does MMA stuff too. So maybe it's in her contract. Maybe Billy Corgan is wanting to test the waters because he's kind of tested NWA with AEW guys. So, dude, this may be just it could wind up being in a broader picture because I would love to see Tim Storm in that stage with AEW. I would love to see. I think Zicky Dice is going to be going somewhere soon, but there was a lot of wrestlers there that did a fantastic job, and I could see them in other platforms, mix and mingle, and maybe like you said earlier, just to touch base on it. What if it's something that you started them off on AEW Dark, and kind of see them build up to a possible main event run, or to see where they would stand in the middle of a card. I have a feeling it's just the beginning of a wonderful budding relationship between all these different promotions, and everybody is just happy that people are being treated as individual creative people in these promotions rather than just run of the mill. Yeah, like, all right, you're going to say this in the promo. Then you got the storyline all set up in your head, and before you got there to wrestle, well, pal, we're going to change it up. We're going to do this now. People can't be creative when they got into wrestling to be creative. So
you definitely don't go to WWE to be creative. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are right when they say that WWE is a show for an audience of one.
Right.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what will happen in the next few years because I have heard that he hasn't been doing well health wise, and so I'm sure it's going to fall onto maybe Triple H. I don't know, maybe Shane McMahon and whatever his daughter's name is. I can't think of it all of a sudden, but Stephanie, right? How could I forget? But it'll be interesting to see how things shake out if anything changes, if at all. But I guess to kind of wrap things up because you said you could go about an hour, so I want to respect your time on all that. We hit the hour mark. So what's your biggest with everything going on? Are you excited about Royal Rumble?
To be honest, I could care less because it's just going to be stuff that is regurgitated to me, and I've. They have so much talent over there, and it's stuff that I've seen before. It's just regurgitated, and I get so tired of it. And after a few years, you want something different. So I definitely will not be watching it.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'll catch the highlights the next night or whatever.
Yeah.
And just see, my only thing is I just like the Royal Rumble match itself and see who they might bring back as special guests or whatever to kind of have a mark out moment. And that's about it. I want to mark out for, 45 minutes, an hour long, and then, and then be done with it. And then I don't really care about much of the storyline because, like I said, they don't really have a lot that I'm invested in for sure. But all right, that's cool. Yeah, we'll just kind of leave it there, guys. I appreciate everybody hanging out. We talked about this prior to this, but yeah.
Speaking of some AEW stuff and wrestling stuff, I was gonna show off a few things if that's cool with you.
Yeah, man. I could go all day. So if you want to show me stuff off, you go right on ahead. I just want to be respectful of your time.
Well, as you may know, man, I'm also a TTMer as yourself.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people, man, that I've been wanting to write to over the years, and I've been I've been successful in reaching out to some of these folks and just getting them to sign something. So here's a couple of pictures that I've gotten recently, or not recently, but a while back. This was an announcer for World Class Championship Wrestling. This guy's name is Bill Mercer. And, on some of the older world-class programs, you will see his face and hear his voice. He also did a lot of if I'm not mistaken, when JFK was shot in Dallas in '63, he was actually one of the journalists covering the stories on the news and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
There's also that really weird connection. Yeah, so from the Von Erichs to the Kennedys, weird association.
Right there.
And I got this not too long ago, sending it to the Performance Center. Yeah. So I got lucky, man. Sent it off to Ricochet. He signed that for me. And I got a homework match for you to check out and tell me what you think. I believe the matches, I think there wound up being two. But you're an old school world class fan or an old school WCW fan. You got to check out gentleman Chris Adams, the
Chris Adams,
the original super kick guy, the guy that taught Shawn Michaels, the guy that I don't even know if the Young Bucks even looked at him, was just like, oh, that's who we're gonna rip off. Chris Adams was the originator of the super kick. Chris Adams, I want to say it was in 96 or 97 versus Randy Macho Man Savage. I think they had a couple of matches.
Chris Evans versus Macho Man in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Great match, man. And being a world-class fan and seeing him show up whenever Everybody thought he was just going to job to Macho Man. Those guys did fantastic. Also have Murder Hawk.
Lance Archer, baby.
Yeah. Lance Archer, he's from here. So I've seen him in a lot of independent shows.
Have you met him before?
Huh?
Have you ever met Lance Archer?
Oh yeah, a few times.
Is he a good guy?
Yeah, he's really good. He's a good dude, man. Big son of
He's
gun.
like a family man in real life, right? He's like got a family and everything.
He has from what I understand, he just has dogs.
Oh, okay. I saw him do like a real interview with looked like he was on a ranch or like a house in the country, and like he had this like real like hometown feel. Like he just kicked back in a chair, just like relaxed. And I'm like, oh, well, who is this guy? This guy's not the Murder Hawk monster, is he? Like that?
Yeah, he lives. I think I know where he lives, but he lives on the outskirts.
When I look through his window at night, every night, I think I know where he lives. Like I know where he sleeps.
Well, now my buddy that I remember showing some cards a while back. My buddy Noel actually knows him, and they're actually really huge Vanilla Ice fans.
Yeah, who is it? Come on now.
If you ever meet Lance Archer, you got to see it. You got to have him do, some Vanilla Ice lines for you.
Oh, don't worry. Now that I know, I'm gonna be like, Lance.
Yeah.
Ice baby.
About 5 or 6 years ago, I was at this giant flea market down the road. It was around Christmas time, and he was in town. It was before he had to go back to Japan to do the Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I ran into him at the flea market, man, and just talked to him for several minutes. He really is a down-to-earth dude. He's really, really cool. I know that he lives in Dallas. A buddy of mine has been over there, so he
awesome.
And from what I understand too, man, he has some pretty cool cars, courtesy of New Japan.
Cards or cars?
Cars. Like
nice.
Like
yeah.
Here's a couple of
Samoa Joe, baby.
Yeah.
He should go to AEW. I think he definitely should go to AEW. He's not being used at all over there. I mean, he's like doing announcing work now or something. It's like, come on, dude.
Right. Oh man, here's some older stuff. I think you'll get a kick out of this. I've never shown this before, so.
Make sure it's HR appropriate.
Oh yeah, it is. This is one of the wrestling events that I went to. Got a few people to sign that. Just a few local guys. Spoiler 2000 right there in the mask.
That's an awesome look. That's a ticket stub.
Yeah.
That's an awesome ticket stub. That has all kind of stuff happening on that.
Yeah, this is one that my buddy's on. He's right here in the middle.
Tell me about that. That's so cool.
This guy right here, he's starting to make a name for himself. His name is Barrett Brown. I think I want to say he's an Impact, but I'm not sure.
All right. But, have you seen Bear Country wrestle?
No.
Dude, I love Bear Country. I'm a complete Bear Country mark. They showing up out of nowhere. They're from the New York East Coast wrestling area.
Okay.
And they've had like about maybe 5 or 6 matches now on Dark. And they're just like two big old boys. They're like, they kind of like Hillbilly Jim and Big John Studd, or they kind of well, actually, I should say they look more like one of them looks like a Big John Studd or whatever, but the other one looks more like what's the
I did see those
what's the one guy was like he's in Heavy Machinery?
Yeah, Otis.
The other one was like, oh man, but man, they are good. They are really good. I like them. But anyway,
I did see those guys, man.
You need to check them out, dude. They're in Bear Country.
Yeah, I think I have seen them in a match last week with Dark, and it absolutely cracked me up. Now you describe
they run each other into balls and throw each other into. That's crazy. What? And that's one of Von Erich's, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Kevin. That was Meet the Wrestlers night in December of '86 at
You
Will
took that
Rogers.
picture yourself?
No, this actually came from a photographer. This is actually the night that I did get to meet him. Um, it was it was weird, man. They didn't do it very often, but they had like a Meet the Wrestlers night. So my family went there. That's the night that I met Dingo Warrior, Ultimate Warrior.
AKA Ultimate Warrior, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I met
Oh,
Kerry Von Erich.
Dingo Warrior. Hello,
Yeah,
Dingo Warrior.
I met Kerry Von Erich that night, and compared to Kevin, man, this is whenever Kevin became my favorite. I I don't know if Kerry was just out of it. I'm pretty sure that he was, but it was that was a
Is
little
Kerry
bit
Von Erich,
disappointing.
is he the one who became the Texas Tornado?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I never knew any of the Von Erichs. Like, I don't think any of them except the Kerry made it over to WWF as a Texas Tornado.
Yeah.
I think he came over with another gimmick first, and then it never took off. Then he became the Texas Tornado. So I just remember him spinning around the ring as a tornado, knocking people down with his arms or something.
Doing the
I remember
discus
thinking,
punch.
like, yeah, I was like, what's happening right now? Even as a kid, I'm like, and I'm sure he probably thought that while he was doing it. But like,
Well, he was actually a legit discus thrower. So that spinning move, he was going to go to the Olympics in 1980, but America withdrew from doing the Olympics that year, and he was going to go. So
he'd been the first gold medalist before Kurt Angle.
yeah, exactly. And the Iron Sheik.
Oh, that's true. Iron Sheik. I forgot about that. Oh, there you go. AWA.
Larry the Axe Henning. Kurt Henning's father.
Kurt Henning's dad, right?
Yep. And Curtis Axel's grandfather.
Curtis Axel's grandpa, yeah. Where's he at? What's he doing with his life?
He passed away a few years ago. But
Curtis did?
No. I'm sorry, Larry did.
Oh, right. Well, I know that he's. Yeah, I meant the grandson.
Yeah. My bad. I was. I have no idea, man. I think Curtis has the it factor whenever he's given a certain push, but I can see him doing something like with Impact or even MLW.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to check out MLW when I get done with you today.
Well, real quick, going back to the Von Erichs, I want to say something to Garrett, Card Cutter. I know you're doing the 1982 Wrestling All-Star card set. Man, if you ever find that Kerry Von Erich card in a good PSA grade, or if you even find an autographed copy of one, man, dude, that would be the card to get, man. Texas legend. Enough said about that.
Right?
Yeah, man, Von Erich country, man. That's where I'm from. This is
It's to Gary.
Yeah, this is a AWA old card. And if you see there, man, Chief Wahoo McDaniel, the Barbarian, Dangerous Alliance, Paul Heyman.
Oh wow.
The Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty before they went to WWF. But I got Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Greg Gagne down here. But the signature.
Oh, you got Greg Gagne's autograph? That's awesome.
This is a Greg Gagne. I got him to sign for my boy a while back, and
Chief Wahoo McDaniel too.
Yeah, Chief Wahoo McDaniel was on. Well, I didn't get him on it. I just got Greg Gagne on there.
Oh, okay.
Because I loved AWA whenever I was a kid too. Here's an old one.
Hogan.
Back in his AWA days.
Yeah, that was back when he was Thunderlips.
Right. And I think you'll get a kick out of these. Are you ready?
I was born ready, sir.
All right.
Oh, Asuka. Man, I find she does such a good job with the comedy and the action, man. She's very I find her pretty attractive, man. I gotta say.
Yes. Yeah. I wrote to her like as soon as she showed up in NXT. I wrote her a letter and sent those pictures, and she was kind enough to. She even sent me a letter back on one of them, which I thought was absolutely cool.
That's cool.
I went to this a few years ago.
Was that say Slammiversary?
Yeah, TNA.
Oh, it is TNA.
Who all was on there? Bobby Roode,
Eric Young, Angle in there?
Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, and I got Tommy Dreamer to sign it. But I won tickets from the local radio station to check that event out. It was a pay-per-view, and it was crazy. That was a good night.
That's
I gotta
awesome,
say.
dude.
But let me see here. I think I got a couple more pictures. Can't talk about world-class wrestling without the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers.
That's Tommy Rogers, that's not, yeah.
That was the Chippendales gimmick.
Chippendale with the thumbs up and the Chippendales opened up shirt like vest thing.
There's me and the COVID god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, you probably like this one too. Eva Marie.
Oh yeah, I heard she's coming back to WWE.
I won't be mad at that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, here's some classics. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Precious.
Yeah, Precious, yep.
Let's see here.
Are we allowed to say valet still? Is that still okay to say?
I know, right? I know. It's kind of crazy. I think you can without offending a lot of people. And then let me see here. Oh yeah. This guy, man, I think he was in New Japan for a hot minute. Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Where is he at now?
I have no idea, man. That dude is money though. Money.
Yeah.
Him and Will Ospreay, man, would make a great tag team.
Oh man, Will Ospreay, he's another one that needs to come over here.
Yep.
Oh, there's Nakamoto right there.
Yep.
I mean, he has like his original introduction music when he first came over was awesome. I loved it.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna have, like the next time we do one of these, I'm gonna have to ask you who's your favorite intros. Oh, is that the Viking something or?
It was before they were the Vikings, man. They were called War Machine.
War Machine.
To sign it.
That don't look like Brody. That doesn't look like Brody. I'm talking about from Marvel, Rhodey.
Oh,
Rhodes as War Machine.
Oh my God! Yeah.
What do you think about Adrian Adonis?
Adrian Adonis?
Yeah.
I was not a fan. He's a little too flamboyant for me. But why am I saying that? And I'm wearing a Depeche Mode shirt, so I don't know.
Right. You're like, oh, Adrian Adonis, I can't be doing that, but let me wear this Depeche Mode shirt.
But so I met Ray Rowe one night. He was doing an independent show here, and I was like, man, dude, I probably will never get to meet Warbeard Hansen, his tag team partner. So I sent a picture to the Performance Center before they went to the main roster, and I got him to sign it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I got this from Bill Apter, believe it or not. This picture right here.
Was that Goldberg's real autograph?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you meet him or did you send that off?
No, I got this directly from Bill Apter from the WrestleMania weekend that was here. There was an independent show and people were selling stuff, and he had some stuff he was selling with some of his old magazines. So I picked that up. And oh man, here we go. The man that Nick Aldis reminds me of. I remember we were talking about that. Nick Bockwinkel.
I thought you were going to show Junkyard Dog.
Oh, no.
Yes, dude. Nick Bockwinkel. That guy, no one ever talks about him, but man, if you know anything about old school wrestling, most definitely. He's very much a Nick Bockwinkel,
very much. Prototype. The way that he carries himself, the way that he talks, like a true champion, the way that he dresses, everything.
Right, dresses, guy.
This is probably my favorite picture.
Bockwinkel is American, right?
Yeah, he was. Mm-hmm.
So I think it even has more of a like a regal feel to it when it's Nick Aldis, who's British. So like when he's talking, you feel like you're like in the presence of royalty, even though for all we know he grew up in the ghetto of England somewhere. But to us, we wouldn't know any different. We're like, oh, he's so proper. So
I know he was living in Las Vegas and he was living a pretty posh lifestyle. So,
there you go.
Yep. So this is my favorite picture. This is the new Rock and Roll Express.
FTW. The new Rock and Roll Express. Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Did you give him a tombstone also?
No, no. But if you see it, man, this is what I'm hoping to do with Garrett one of these days if he ever comes to my neck of the woods. You see Ricky Morton double fisting some beers, and I've got a double Jack and Coke in my hand.
But Ricky Morton's the man, dude.
Dude, he was telling stories that night. Oh my God, I will remember that for the rest of my life.
I would love to hear an hour or two stand up or like just conversation like with Ricky Morton, just like on the stage having a couple beers and just like regale us in conversations of the past. Like for him, it's no big deal, but for us, we'd be like, oh my gosh, because I did that with Jason Snake Roberts a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it is like seriously. Some of it could be put on, but to make the stories a little bit better. You never know.
Right.
But with wrestlers, I always feel like with wrestlers, it's probably like they don't got to make up the story. It's so crazy, especially those generations.
Right.
Like they might have, if anything, they might have to tone down the story so they don't get in trouble or something, or like get canceled. Because I mean, Jake the Snake Roberts was saying, I mean, this was right at the cusp of like cancel culture starting. Right. And he was saying some really I will say first, I have no problem. Would you say whatever you want? Whatever, that's fine. If I don't like it, I can, go somewhere else or whatever. But man, he was saying some stuff that you could feel people were feeling uncomfortable in the room. What's it say?
Yeah. Yeah.
You could feel like there was like a turn in the crowd that were like, and I mean, it was like your grandpa not picking up on the cues, and he was going like, balls deep into it, man. He just kept on going, like, and I was like, wow. I'm always like, I want to go back to that time if he does another one of those shows in Indiana and see if he still does the same like extreme stories that he's telling, or does he kind of like swing around a little bit and maybe like take out some of the harder things to swallow, so to speak, So, but yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, I'll let you go, dude. It has been awesome as always, man. I really appreciate you popping on, Gary.
Hey, man, I appreciate you asking me on and having me on again. I love talking about this stuff, man. And
yeah, maybe one time we got to get maybe you, me, and Garrett. We'll do one together, all three of us.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, man. He's one of those guys, man. I'm so excited for him because he's tackling. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's trying to get as many of those 82 Wrestling All-Star cards, which are hard to find to begin with. But he's getting some in like really good condition. And I saw recently where he got Cowboy Bill Watts to sign one of those cards and signed an 8x10 for him and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I tried writing to that guy a few years ago and I got zilch back. So,
it's all about the angle, magic touch. You gotta have the angle. You gotta know how to go in on them. You gotta find their soft spot and use it.
I'll just play him some Depeche Mode for him.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You just get out your Depeche Mode and your fedora, and you're ready to go.
There you go. So, there you go, man.
All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, peace.
Peace. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.